Hi lads and lasses, Modest Pelican here with Hitman 3. If you enjoyed this video, please make an OnlyFans account called Wet n Wild, but only post pictures of pelicans in their natural habitat, as this really helps spread the good word of my channel.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Welcome to Argentina, where we've been sent to a lavish vineyard to eliminate our two targets, Don Yates and Tamara Vidal. We're bringing in with us a red silence pistol because it came with the deluxe edition, so I feel like I need to use it to avoid buyer's remorse. A violin because girls love classical string music, and some lethal poison because syringes are always a good time, especially when you share them. I walk up to Diana, who'll be working with us today, and she hands me an invitation to the party. She wasn't always just standing awkwardly with her hand out like this. There was a cutscene where she tried to pretty aggressively hold my hand outside of wedlock. That filth does not belong on YouTube though, I'm sorry for even showing it. It's now time to seamlessly blend into our social surroundings. It should be pretty easy because Thickman doesn't have any clear and obvious physical traits that would make him easy to pick out in a crowd. I spot two baddies taking a selfie, so I decide to get in on that action. Probably not the most strategic decision being photographed while on a hit contract, but celebrating positive self-image is important. The event has attracted some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world. It's also attracted this lawyer, who is quite a handsome malacca. He's got a meeting with our first target, Don Yates, so I decide to orchestrate a little plan. Get it? Because of the violin I have in my pocket, I guess? You know a content creator is reaching peak form when they make several violin references in quick succession. Man, my DMs are going to be flooded with nudes after I post this video. Surprisingly, that small fall knocked him unconscious. My man needs to take some iron supplements. I steal the documents he was delivering and also his briefcase, which I feel really completes my look. The security here is insane, so for now we won't take the lawyer disguise. I want to just play it cool and properly explore the winery first. People are drinking and dancing, and I decide that now is my moment. I put down the briefcase and prepare to serenade every single person in the vicinity. As I hit the stage, a guard picks up my briefcase as he thinks it's a bomb threat. Top 10 saddest gaming moments. In an angered rage, I throw my instrument, shattering it into pieces. I'm now down a briefcase, a violin, and I've made a scene. Not exactly a red hot start, but at least I've located Tamara Vidal. She's walking around with our colleague, Mrs. Handsy Diana. We'll have to assassinate Tamara quickly, as I'd hate for her to be sexually assaulted like I was earlier. I make my way to the eating area and overhear two chefs having a heated discussion. One of them forgot the torch to light the fire pit, and therefore dinner can't be cooked. If we can find a way to start the fire, maybe we can lure Don down from his mansion. I continue to explore and come across two very serious big girls having a conversation about how they need to eliminate Diana. She doesn't deserve to die. At most, she just needs a few mediating sessions with human resources about physical boundaries. While I listen, I steal a bottle of red, as sometimes it's nice to treat yourself. I then follow Blue Beret Guy as he's planning to eliminate her while they take a tour of the vineyard. I can't have that, so I toss the bottle of red into some lavender bushes and he goes over to investigate. Some people might say that I have a gambling problem, especially my clinical psychologist, but I decide to take a chance and I put one into his head. He conveniently falls into the plant, so I drag him a little further in and take his disguise. We now don't have to worry about his little plan or rolling an ankle while we jog around. I might look like the kid who spent a month in Paris and now thinks he understands high-end fashion, but at least these sneakers offer sufficient joint support. The question is, how do we kill Tamara when she's got this much security and always stays in highly populated areas? I decide to sneak into the staff-only building and see if I can find a lead. Getting in here was almost effortless, but still a lot harder than infiltrating the Capitol building. I grab a bottle of Pinot Noir and throw it at this waiter's head. A poor innocent guy is probably going to have long-term cognitive issues, but his disguise will hopefully give me more freedom. I also find some rat poison, which is fun. There is actually a lot going on down here. Armed guards, boxes of juicy grapes, and then all of a sudden I see her. A thick toolbox. You see, I wasn't allowed to bring my own briefcase on this mission, so the fact that I lost one but now have a second chance is like a gift from God. I then find this secret passageway and figure that it would be rude not to have a gander. At the top of the stairs are two guards who probably only took this job to feed their families, as the economic situation in Argentina is tough right now. I proceed to pull out my immersion-breaking red handgun and shoot them both in the head twice. I don't know why they were able to take an initial bullet to the head, I guess they just have great work ethic. I then dump their bodies into some water, which I can't imagine is particularly sanitary in a winery. It turns out they died for nothing, as I don't find anything particularly useful down here. I decide to bail, but on my way out, one of the workers has picked up my toolbox. I politely ask him to return my property, and he is smart enough to comply with my request. It's time we go and find Don Yates, as we haven't even seen him yet. I slip my pistol into the toolbox and head up towards his mansion. I saw a waiter go up here earlier, but unfortunately the guards are too smart and they want to search the box. Fortunately, I'm still esports ready and I throw the box up over the wall so I can collect it after being frisked, but then this happens. It falls agonizingly close but out of reach, meaning I've lost my gun and my beloved. You're probably surprised to hear that I didn't just turn off my game and cry myself to sleep. No, I forge forward because I'm a gamer. Gamers don't die, they respawn. I was trying to think of the most cringe thing I could say, but I bet you that's on a t-shirt somewhere being worn by a divorced dad. I find a torch, which is a great start. The young chef doesn't seem to be in too much of a rush as he's busy chatting up some Argentinian babes. I once hit on an Argentinian girl at a hostel and she no joke said, "You seem nice but you're far too pale." In my opinion, that's kind of racist. So sorry that I use SPF 50+ like a responsible beachgoer. White men have definitely had it the hardest in life. I light the fire myself, and just like that, dinner is on its way. It doesn't take long before waiters start serving food, and so I decide to play a little poison roulette. As I'm dressed as a waiter, I can tamper with food and meals, and no one will get suspicious. So I put the rat poison on a random steak, fingers crossed. I finally locate the Don as he's come down for dinner to give a speech to the guests. My poisoned meal is also on the go, so let's just hope it ends up at the right table. The big girl proceeds to say a few heartwarming words, and then this poor guy eats a large amount of rat poison. That's an awful lot of brodifacoum for one human to ingest, and he might have some ongoing blood clotting problems. If it's any consolation, Tamara saw him throw up and almost got it on her dress, so we'll celebrate that almost victory. If you're wondering why I'm not using the lethal poison injection, I forgot you can't use it on food, so yeah. When you take into account that I misplaced my gun and broke the violin almost immediately, it wasn't my best choice of loadout. I decide to use this opportunity to explore the mansion as Don and most of his guards are downstairs eating. The place is pretty deserted, and so I head upstairs to the master bedroom. I proceed to sniff his wife's underwear, steal his car keys, but there isn't too much happening. Upstairs in the attic, however, is a different story. There is a goddamn medieval broadsword and a pirate saber. I finally have the tools I need to finesse Don Yates whilst also maximizing my DPS. This really is a room full of treats as I grab a hunting rifle off the wall and know exactly what I have to do. I scope in on the dodgy Malacca and I'm really hoping he doesn't watch this kill cam because I hard scope it pretty badly. To my surprise, I get away with it. No, just kidding, of course I don't. I end up trying to fight all the guards off with the broadsword. It's quite a spectacle. It actually goes surprisingly well, but inevitably guns beat sword. I reload and we need to scope out this winery properly and ensure we don't miss any details. In fact, we're going to have to add a little subtle spice to this mission to avoid another all-out gunfight. I head back to the entrance where people are still waiting to get in, how socially embarrassing for them. I then put on the anemic lawyer's clothes that I knocked out ages ago. Hopefully I can persuade Don to talk with me in private and there we can make our move. He's having a second helping, what a greedy boy. Summer bodies are built in winter, champ. I tell him I have the documents he requested and he needs to see them urgently. He tells me to wait in the guest bedroom of his mansion and doesn't even make eye contact. Greedy and rude. I don't even know if I want to give him fake legal advice anymore. I make my way to the mansion and find the guest room. I notice there's a spot on the table to place the documents and so I lay them out ready. Moments later he comes in, but unfortunately he's being chaperoned by several incredibly big girls. I start the presentation by going through how all of his associates have died under suspicious circumstances. I know an awful lot about it because I murdered all of them in other missions. I decide that I've got to make a move now or I risk losing the moment. I actually remember saying the exact same thing to myself moments before I was brutally rejected by that Argentinian witch. It's time for a big D play. While Don's distracted, I sneak over behind his guard and choke him out. I then head over to Don and eliminate him in an excessively violent way. I guess I could have used the syringe here, but this just seemed more creative. I hide the bodies as fast as I can, and seconds later his other personal guard comes in to see what's good. Before he can gather his thoughts, I take him out too and somehow get away with the whole thing. This was a whole lot more successful than my parents' marriage. Don Archibald Yates eliminated, but the job is only half done. The party is still kicking on and security is everywhere. How do we assassinate Tamara? Well, how do you take someone down in a crowded bar? You spike their drink, trust me, I would know. As I'm stalking her to try and find an opening, I overhear that she's hunting down a glass of Pinot Noir. I had a bottle of Pinot Noir earlier, but I threw it at a waiter's head for cinematic effect. I would normally say no regrets, but locating another bottle turns out to be incredibly challenging. I decide the best course of action is to pull out a shotgun and eliminate absolutely everyone, as if they're all dead, there can be no witnesses. Nah, kidding, I just wanted to see what this would be like. Now we'll go and find the Pinot Noir and do this all sneaky. I search the cellars and the factories, and after a long while I find what I'm after. I'm also genuinely curious as to where Agent 47 is putting these bottles, as this is a family-friendly channel with intellectual humour that is far above that kind of insinuation. We'll move on. I head to the bar and get ready to serve the guests. It's surprising that the other bartender doesn't get suspicious of me tampering with the drinks. Maybe he thinks it's a Barocca, and I'm just psyched about ensuring our patrons get enough vitamin C and magnesium. Tamara begins sipping her fine wine while Diana happily chats away. I feel like I'm queuing with randoms because I'm carrying this mission hard. What has Diana done today except indulge herself and cross physical boundaries in the workplace? At least the poison is working, as Tamara hobbles off to the bathroom to be sick. She's also courteous, unlike that random dinner guest who threw up all over the bin in front of everyone. He was a bit of an attention seeker, it was kind of pathetic. I sneak into the bathroom when her guards are distracted, and there she is, completely unaware and unguarded. I feel ethically okay with this form of murder, as she could drink some water before she drowned. I mean, at least she'd die hydrated, which isn't great, but it's definitely better than dying dehydrated. Tamara Vidal eliminated, and we earn a 3-star rating, which is actually incredibly high for me. If you enjoyed this video, press like, it makes me moist. Thanks for watching, you legends. Until next time, and as always, stay classy.